Good morning, everyone. Well, I'm standing here in my bedroom, believe it or not, because it's the brightest room in my apartment at this time of the day, and I just love being here in my bedroom. You see over my shoulders some of my own artwork that I love to play with, and of course my bike is there because I do my training here in my bedroom. It's the only place I can do it. But why I'm also here in my bedroom is because this morning, as I woke up in this beautiful bright room, I woke up with a feeling of joy. I woke up with a feeling of excitement. The day was about to begin once again. The sun was streaming in my window, and I was thoroughly enjoying my morning stretch, knowing that I was going to get up and face the day. Love it, love it, love it, love it. One of the other things that I love is I have here on my wall, and I can turn this around and show you my wall. It is my affirmations that I see each morning before I leave my bedroom. And I want to read them to you because it's easier probably than you trying to focus in on reading them or me holding the video camera long enough for you to do that. So I'm going to read them to you. I have come a long way. I have made impressive strides. I will continue to raise the bar as I meet my own expectations and love doing so. I celebrate each and every success along the way. And most important, this final affirmation, which is I love myself and I know that I am enough. How often do you say that to yourself? I love myself and I know that I am enough. I know that that's a hard thing to say for many people, and I've only come to it through exploration, through opportunity to learn about myself. I've only come to it by deeply and spiritually talking with the great divine energy, as well as looking deep within my own heart. Now, part of that comes from the fact that I have faced death. Not myself, not me. I've not had a near-death experience. But I have faced death with my friends and family over the years. I remember as a child, I had a lot of elderly relatives, so that it was often common for us to be going to a funeral. And it was just expected that I would go. It wasn't the days where anybody would pop me off to a relative to be watched while they went to the funeral. I just went. I went along. And so I saw funerals from a very young age. And so I was quite comfortable with them growing up and didn't realize how comfortable I was and the others were not until I began to work in spiritual care and soul care and walking a spiritual journey with others. I came to the conclusion that people are really afraid of death. And I think that they're more afraid because they don't understand. They don't understand it. They've never talked about it. They've never faced it. They've been told that it's something that we're not supposed to talk about. It's morbid. It's frightening. There's all kinds of reasons why people just avoid the conversation. I am a death doula. Now, many people are going to say, what's a death doula? What is that? What is that? A death doula is like a first responder when it comes to end-of-life care, or end-of-life preparation, or end-of-life conversation. When you have a fire in a building, most people are running out, and the firefighters are running in. When you have a car accident or a traumatic experience where there's blood, there's guts, there is need of first aid, you have paramedics and doctors and nurses running in when everyone else is running out. A death doula is kind of like that, in a way that when most people are avoiding the conversation or avoiding the moment or avoiding the opportunity to be in a situation that involves death and dying, a death doula is your first responder. She's running in, he's running in, we are running in when most people are running out. Now, how I became so comfortable with death is because of a young age, going to funerals and sort of understanding them. I remember very young, my mother's sister's husband died. And I remember I was probably about 5 or 6 years old, and I can remember all the tears, and I remember standing in line at the funeral home, and I remember the casket, and I can see that in my mind's eye. But as a little 5-year-old, I didn't really understand what was going on. It was all an observation. But as I grew older, time started to change, and it became intimate to me. When I was about 8 years old, my first grandmother died. Then when I was about 12 years old, I lost other grandparents. My brother died when I was 13, and it was traumatic. He was 24 years old, and it was 2 weeks after my mother's father had died. So she was reeling from his death, only to have to mourn and go through another funeral of my 24-year-old brother. Now, I was 13 at the time, so I was sort of at the in-between stage of where people thought that I really could understand it, could feel the grief, and yet I wasn't treated like a child, but I wasn't treated like an adult either. So I had to kind of struggle through that death and figure it all out for myself. Then as I moved on in my life, in my years, my parents were born in 1916 and 1919. So they both died at 90 years old, one in 2005, one in 2009. And then I had a brother, 56-year-old brother, who died when he was 56 years old, and he died of a heart attack. And I facilitated over those 3 funerals, my mother's, my father's, and my brother's. I also facilitated over the funeral of a first cousin's husband. And I found peace. I found a place where I belonged. Because if we are to understand life, we must befriend death. I love myself because I understand that I am a spiritual being having a human experience here on this plane. I have come to the personal understanding that what goes on behind this set of eyes is my spirit at work. What you see of me, my human body, is just that. It's a vessel. It's a vessel for my spirit. It is blood, it is guts, it is a heartbeat, it is electromagnetic workings where everything is working. I cut my finger yesterday, and when I cut my finger, I bled. And I bled because there's blood in my veins and in my arteries. But my spirit coped. And I understand that. In order to understand life, we have to have a conversation about death. Because when you can celebrate death the way we celebrate birth, then life for you will take a huge shift. I want to tell you this openly and honestly because as a death doula, this is what I want to do. I want to help people befriend death. I want to help people have a death conversation before it comes knocking at the door. I want people to know what their loved ones, what their friends want at their own end of life. I want people to know what they want for their own end of life care. If you ask someone in a healthy moment, in a healthy state, they will tell you, do not hook me up to machines. Do not keep me alive. If I'm broken and can't walk and won't be able to look after myself, then let me go. I've used this simple little thing that sounds so silly, but it's funny to me. I laugh about it as, please just put a bullet in my head. Because I want to allow my spirit to carry on to the next world. I don't know what it is. You don't know what it is. We don't know what it is, but I know my spirit came from somewhere, so I'm assuming it's going to go on. So befriend death, and let me help you do that. Let me share with you the conversation about death. Let me educate you and enlighten you that it's nothing to be afraid of. Now, I'm not saying you won't grieve when someone dies. That's a whole different kettle of fish. Grieving is a process. Grieving is a deep sadness of something that is lost. And when we lose a human being in the human body and the spirit is released, we grieve. And it is a sad time. However, that said, when those deep and profound conversations have been had before death occurs, the peace you will feel is unbelievable. My mother often is with me in my heart pretty well every day. I converse with my dad now and again. My brother leaped on to me, and I had him with me for years after his funeral because I don't think his spirit really wanted to go. So he kind of hung around through me. There's all kinds of ways that we can feel people after they have moved on from this earthly plane. So let's have the conversation. I am open and here for you. If you're curious, contact me. I'm hoping once the quarantine is lifted and once that we're able to in September, we'll be able to do some awareness classes, some time for conversation, have what we're going to be calling a death cafe, where we can openly talk about our fears and what we're scared of and talk about death and what happens at death. And maybe you've never witnessed it and that's why you're afraid of it. Maybe you've never had someone in your life actually die. So let's walk this road together. Let's learn about death. We learned about how to have a baby, we women. So let's learn about how to gracefully and beautifully and wondrously leave this planet. So that's a conversation, a big one. And I'm so excited that you're watching this video, and be more excited if we can continue the conversation. So you can contact me through my Breaking Stibah, BreakingStibah.com website, or CynthiaBredner.com, or you can look me up on Facebook. There's lots of ways you can find me. I'll put in the comments below my contact information. We can video chat, we can telephone chat, we can online chat, we can email chat, we can text chat. I don't care how we do it or how you do it. Just have the chat. Bye for now.